How's it going, everyone? I am the Shaz here with your video guide on the 6th official SBL. This one is going to be shorter than past videos, but I'll explain why shortly. The timing of the event on JP means that this SBL will most likely occur after the start of the Fest Karan and Kasumi banner, but that is subject to change. As I will state before we get into the meat of every SBL video, make sure you have teams to do at least one daily voltage run per song during SBL. Even if you don't think you have a particularly great team for voltage runs, do them. The number of tokens and star gems from SBL that you can get from not only the daily voltage totals, but the overall voltage totals as well, varies wildly, so I highly encourage you to do those voltage runs, even if you don't win the voltage category MVP on a given song. The songs for this SBL are Yume No Tobira for Muse, Miracle Wave for Aqua, and Ketsui No Hikari for Nijigasaki. In addition, your standard MVP categories of voltage, SP gauges, and skill activations are no longer. Instead, this SBL starts a rotation of MVP titles, with a new one being thrown into the fray: healing skills. Yes, that's correct, there's a healing skills MVP. For this particular SBL, the MVP categories were voltage, SP gauges, and healing activations. As far as the buffs go, all cards got a 10% stat buff for this SBL. The last change, which may or may not happen, is due to this SBL occurring during the first anniversary on the JP server. The change? JP went from 20 to 30 person rooms. On the global server, we could see the rooms go from either 10 to 15 or from 10 to 20. Nobody is really sure. My best guess is that if the rooms increase in capacity, they will go up to 15 people, since that will be easier to fill than a 20 person room. Let's kick this video off with Yume No Tobira from Muse, a pure attribute song, cleansable 20% off attribute debuff, a 7-member appeal AC, and minus 50% appeal until you switch strategies gimmick notes. Yeah, this is a pretty difficult song to tackle, but not totally impossible for voltage runs. A lot of the time, you're going to default to making your 2 best scoring strategies so you don't lose out on voltage during your runs. In addition, you'll probably see SK type cards added in the 2nd and 3rd strongest strategies, since that will give you a chance for the decrease in strategy switch time, getting you back to your main scoring team. While 3 of the 4 appeal chances decrease the base appeal of non-SP type cards by 50%, unless you have a strategy of 3 max limit break, decent appeal, and crit rate gauge-filled tap active cards, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Everyone is going to encounter this issue, and more often than not, higher limit break skill or voltage types, especially with decent crit rates, will still outscore SP types during these ACs. Now, SP gauge filling for this particular song, especially because of the first AC and the gimmick notes, very heavily revolves around Fest Emma. If you have her, you have an extra leg up on the competition, since the song naturally promotes strategy switching. Because of this, you'll want to go with a pretty common backline if you have any combination of these 3 cards: Parade Pana, Fessio, Cheerleader Yohane, Snow Halation Maki, Borarara Umi. All of these cards have a chance to increase skill activation rates for all members for the next 10 notes upon strategy switch, so using a combination of these 3 cards gives you more skills to activate, and thus more gauge-filled tap actives to go through. Speaking of the skill activation backline, for all 3 songs we will cover today, the strategy is very simple to win Healing Skills MVP. A combination of those cards we just listed as your last 3, prioritizing the URs because they give a higher skill activation rate up than the SRs, then adding in 6 stamina heal tap active cards. Which cards? Any of them really. So long as they have a stamina heal tap active, you'll be fine. However, if you're employing the 6-member strategy switch tactic, there are 2 cards I would prioritize first: Fest Mari and the recently released New World Setsuna. Why? Because these are the only 2 SK type cards with a stamina heal. If you are able to somehow activate the show formation skill, which is the strategy switch time down by 2 nodes, This gives you a chance to activate those 3 backline cards more frequently. Having your back 3 activate more frequently means a better chance for your healers to activate your skills, creating this never-ending loop of skill activations and heals. The next song we will cover is Miracle Wave by Aqua, an active attribute song that can be brute force, so expect to see a lot of that when you are going through your runs. The most common strategy to see? Fest Kanon, Fest Setsu, Train Nico. Wait, what? Why Train Nico? Well, look at the song itself. Base appeal of off attribute cards down by 20%. Okay, that still doesn't make sense. Why would I run Blue Amore Umi instead? You could and should run Blue Amore Umi over Train Nico if you have both and Umi is at a higher limit break. The reason why I will be running Train Nico is multi-layered. First, look at the main gimmick note of the song. Increase appeal of current strategy by 20% until strategy switch. If this is the case, give me the card with the tap active that will allow me to cycle through SP gauges versus the card that will get me to the tap cap but do nothing else the rest of the song. But what about the third AC? In my experiences having played this SBL on JP, my advice is to tank it when you're doing voltage runs. Yes, that may sound strange, but the trade-off for switching strategies to pass an AC does not fully make up the voltage you lose by just sticking on your main scoring strategy that has picked up all of those gimmick note buffs. Yes, your stamina will drop pretty low, so do some test runs before you implement this strategy to see how much stamina you will need in your backline. For SP gauges, this song does have an argument for a particular way to set up your formations. The second and last appeal chances give a 50% gauge gain increase to all SP members during the AC, which may push you towards building your strategies as 3 SP type gauge fillers versus 3 SK type gauge fillers. Alternatively, you could just go 3 SP in one strategy for just those ACs and 3 SK in another for the rest of the song, but that's up to you and what cards you have. The last song for this SBL is Ketsui No Hikari, Shioriko's solo. This song, for most of you, even outside of SBL, is a hassle. This song requires very specific team building, so if you haven't cleared the song on advanced yet, listen up. Voltage runs, for the most part, will look like this. Strategy 1 for scoring. Your 3 best scorers. For most of the whales, it'll be Fest Chica, Fest Kanon, Fest Setsu, and most likely in that order. Strategy 2 for the ACs. 1 damage reduction tap active, and at least 1, if not 2 of, your best guard type stamina heal tap actives. Strategy 3. Stamina sticks, appeal boosters, and a cleanser, depending on accessories and overall stamina for the formation. For those of you that didn't notice, or haven't seen my video going over this song's release back in October, I mentioned all of the quirks of this song. 10 damage per note, but 30k, 50k, and 80k damage coming at the very end of specific appeal chances. In addition, you have 2 ACs that require a certain amount of skill activations, with skill rate boosts going to guard type cards. These things in concert mean generally lower scoring overall, and a lot more people straight up failing the song if they're not paying attention. SP gauge cycle strategies look a little rough, specifically because of the damage from the ACs. A majority of gauge fill tap active cards, whether they be SP or SK type, tend to have low stamina, which won't do you any favors on this song. This normally means a single gauge fill strategy, coupled with a full guard type strategy, and then 3 stamina stick backliners to keep you alive. Single gauge fill strategies, however, make cards like Detective Haneo much more valuable, since her live show active can also provide gauge fill anytime she crits. The people with the easiest time will be those wanting to get that healing MVP. All they realistically need to do is have 3 healers on their main team and boom, job done, and for the most part, they shouldn't have to worry about failing the song if they have their 3 strongest stamina heal cards together, even with the chunk damage the ACs give. And that concludes this video on the 6th official SBL. As always, a big thank you to my man Xifrid for help with some of the visual assets for this video. If you have any questions about this SBL, need some last minute team tuning advice, or you are a newer player and need more explanation on game mechanics in general, feel free to head over to my Twitch channel Discord server. A link will be in the description below. I've been I Am the Shaz. Take it easy, be nice to each other, have a safe and happy new year, and I'll see you all next time.